Hello and welcome to the Marvel Rocketeer channel. Thank you so much for joining me. And today we're going to be cutting to the chase as to how the Fantastic Four First Steps movie has to do or needs to do Galactus, the world devourer. So in making this video, the first thing that I took into account was the five comic books that Marvel was recommending the audience views and reads prior to watching Fantastic Four First Steps. In at number one, we have Fantastic Four, number one from 1961, which is the origin story of the Fantastic Four. Then they follow that up by recommending Fantastic Four, number two, or not number two, but number 48 from 1961 also, along with 49 and 50, which were all written by Stan Lee and drawn out by Jack Kirby, the king. And then the last recommendation, as you can see up on screen, is Fantastic Four number one, The Life Story from 2021. I own all of these, thankfully, in omnibus form. And then Fantastic Four Life Story number one, I was able to obtain at a Comic Con that I went to not too long ago. So I was able to do some research and analyze this. But I also used other Galactus appearances from media and other comic books, such as Fantastic Four number 262, which is the trial of Reed Richards, and Fantastic Four number 243 and 244, which is Everyone versus Galactus, Need We Say More, and When Calls Galactus. The first thing that the movie has to do is establish Galactus's complicated and convoluted origin story. The perfect way to do this is as it is done in Fantastic Four number 262, The Trial of Reed Richards, where we essentially have the Allfather Odin from Asgard explaining to the jury and everybody who's in there, accusing Reed Richards for saving Galactus. So what Odin does is he tells us that Thor, which is Odin's son, had a conversation with Galactus, and Galactus was able to tell Thor how he became the cosmic entity known as Galactus. Now, as I mentioned, Galactus' origin is lengthy and can get complicated, so I think the movie needs to tap into it, but not reveal every single detail from the comic. The best way to do Galactus in this Fantastic Four First Steps movie is we see a planet, kind of like we did in Infinity War with Thanos, but we see the planet of Ta, which is Galactus's planet before he became Galactus. We see this creature or this human-like person known as Galen. We see how technologically advanced this whole planet is. We see the milestones that they've accomplished, and kind of like with Namor and the underworld city of Atlantis or Talokan in the movie. But here we see the planet of Ta. It's thriving, but we also see conflict, kind of like in Superman. There's so many examples of this. It's essentially a failed civilization or a civilization that is so advanced yet they're doomed. And Galen knows this. Some scientists, along with Galen, know this. So they start kind of exploring the cosmos to find a way to survive the planet's death. They figure out that some of Ta's best should inhabit this rocket ship or spaceship and escape the planet before it explodes. So we see a crew go ahead and do that. We see the planet blow up, and the goal is for them to go to the center of the universe. They reach the center of the universe, but then it becomes a black hole that just sucks in the whole universe of the planet Tom. So essentially, after we see the whole universe go to crap and there's no more planet Ta, the last inhabitants of the planet Ta in that spaceship are dying, along with Galen himself. But then Galen is the last one to be conscious, and he hears a distorted voice that is beyond human comprehension, as it's stated in the comic book, which whispers to him, "The sentience of the universe." Here we can see the Watcher or a Watcher, but I would recommend they stick to the Watcher, which is the main one from What If and the comics as well as Guardians of the Galaxy. Maybe we stick to him and he's watching these events all unfold. And again, they're meant to watch so they don't disrupt, they don't do anything. They're just kind of curious until we see the massive Galactus, no more Galen, pop out of the box with all the cosmic powers, and he's out of the cube spaceship. With that beautiful origin out of the way, we need to now understand that Galactus was once a human being. He didn't have any cosmic powers at some point. He was simply an inhabitant of the planet Ta, and his universe collapsed and became a black hole, sending everything to crap. And he lost his identity as Galen, so now he's Galactus. And we need to see like a montage of Galactus, the world devourer, doing just that, devouring the planets that he comes across, not because he wants to, but because he needs to for his survival. And then all these civilizations, all these alien races, essentially just attempting to stop. This could take a few minutes to show on screen, but failing because they simply stand no match against Galactus. Another thing is the machinery. The machinery was drawn up very like cool looking in the comic books by Jack Kirby. So I think they ought to pay homage to that in the comic books. It has to be something wonky yet technologically advanced that kind of makes sense. And so these machines are essentially what Galactus uses to make the planets into energy so that he can convert them. He doesn't need planets like apples, although the planet is round and he's massive. That's not the way it goes down. I've seen that be a misconception for whatever reason. So in Fantastic Four number 49, it says, "Never in a thousand millenniums, never has it failed before," referring to the machine that the thing breaks in one of the comic book panels as shown here on the monitor. So I think we ought to explain that, right? If he's been around for that long, yet he needs this energy. So perhaps he doesn't just wipe out civilizations and planets all the time. Maybe um, not civilizations, but perhaps he's able to consume planets without civilizations and living beings in it. That could be interesting. But he will not stop because, again, this is Galactus. Who happened to be Galen, who saw the end of his universe and everything as he knew it. Demonstrating this shows how, to Galactus, loss of lives and planets has been a part of his existence for thousands of millenniums. So Earth is just yet another one, even though it does have life forms, even though it has the Fantastic Four. So to him, it's no different than a planet which was inhabited or uninhabited that he consumed. He needs the energy. Here's a perfect one. I'm here to destroy it, turn it into energy, and consume it. That needs to be established, and he needs to be careless. Again, um, as people, we pick up on habits and we do things, and they just continue to go up until we put an end to them. But if we don't put an end to them, a lot of times they just become habits that we continuously do. And I think that needs to be part of Galactus. I'm here. I've seen some theories that want to claim that he's here for Franklin Richards, but I think Franklin Richards is going to be super young in this movie, so it doesn't make sense to me. And I would be a little bit upset if they went in this direction because, again, it's the first family of Marvel. This is the first time we're seeing them on the big screen. Franklin Richards doesn't really play that huge of a part until much later. And since they're recommending us to read Fantastic Four number one, um, because that's the origin of the team for this movie, they're also trying to, in a way, establish that. So I think Franklin Richards should become a bigger player in later Marvel movies, maybe in Avengers Secret Wars. So let's not do that here. Here, let's establish Galactus. He's here solely to turn the planet into energy and consume it so that he can proceed existing. And again, because he's done this to so many other civilizations and other planets. Just for context, the son of Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman is Franklin Richards, which happens to have these crazy mutant powers. But again, that's saved for much later in the comics. I think it's like 250 or plus. So I would just stay away from this. In this movie, I would focus more on the Fantastic Four origin and their superpowers, but also Galactus, right? Because he's the main villain of this movie from everything we've known. And his powers and his origin are key, I think, to this movie working. So I think we need to see that. We need to see the origin. We need to see the powers. We need to see flashbacks to what the Galactus character has been through and heralds that he's had in the past, even if they are in flashback forms. Another topic up for debate is Galactus's height. I think Marvel officially rules him in at 28 feet 9 inches, which I think is pretty. I mean, it makes sense if you see him in the panels of Fantastic Four number 48 through 50, I believe. He looks to be around that height, especially when compared with the other characters, aka the Fantastic Four. So I think the movie should do keep him around this height, 28 feet with 9 inches. And I mean, if you think about that, a human being that tall, that's kind of terrifying to see. Now you add the armor. So for his appearance, I think you keep him at 28 feet with 9 inches for somewhere roughly around there. And I think you do justice to his first appearance where he wore like a Christmassy looking outfit because it was red and green. But we see it evolve to this purple, maroon, and brown shade. Why? Because Galactus is a cosmic entity and he can be any size he wants and appear as any being and be any height he wants. So that's why I think we should do this. I think we should see him shrink down to 28 feet and 9 inches. Why would he do this if he can be so much taller than that and bigger than that? I think we should put limits on the energy that he has, which limits how big he can get. And 28 feet and 9 inches is what allows him to put the machines on Earth, since that's the size of the planet. So I think we should see that, and that should be explained, even if it's quick in the movie. So pretty much for powers, I think we need to be able to see him grow and shrink himself at will. We need to see him be, well, obviously have superhuman strength or more than superhuman strength, since he's able to lift such heavy objects that make up his machines, which turn the planets into energy. We need to see him have an anti gravity device. That's key in the Fantastic Four comic, number 49. So you can, it's hard to make this guy fall. And also, he needs to be, like I said, massive. Having him fall needs to have costs to other people, which is why the team doesn't want to just take him down. He needs to be somewhat smart, and again, he needs to be indifferent when meeting the team, which tries to stop him because they're trying to make him like comprehend and kind of connect with him. Galactus is indifferent, careless. He just wants to eat because he needs to live. But yeah, when it comes to the powers, like I said, super strength, eyes, eye lasers, kind of like Cyclops. He needs to be able to shoot like lasers out of his fingers, like he did in Marvel Ultimate Alliance. And yeah, that's basically it for the superpowers. So I've heard rumors from insiders and some reliable sources that have been in the industry of spoiling Marvel movies or kind of guessing what's going to happen in the movies, say that Galactus is essentially going to win. He's going to consume the universe or the planet in which the Fantastic Four are in, and the Fantastic Four have to escape to the 616 universe, which is where the Avengers took place and everything that else with it. But I would offer a different take. What if the Fantastic Four and Galactus come to a stalemate because Galactus is just that powerful? Galactus, like in the comics, has to find a different method of getting energy because of the stalemate. In the comics, the ultimate nullifier causes this. So I would kind of stick to that, especially because it's our introduction to the team. Let's do the Fantastic Four team justice, please. These guys have done a movie in the 1994, in 2005, and 2007, and in 2015, and have not gotten done justice correctly. So I think here we play it safe. We bring in the Ultimate Nullifier, stalemate between Galactus and the Fantastic Four. It's a very intriguing movie, and Galactus wanders off somewhere else to get his energy. Fantastic Four save the world. They're established as superheroes. But then another issue causes them to shoot into the 616 universe. If we're going to have them go to the 616 universe. Because if it were up to me, I love everything that we've seen so far from the Fantastic Four first Steps movie, which isn't much. It's just a few promotional posters and like leaked trailers. I would bring the 616 universe over to the Fantastic Four universe. That way we can start fresh. Because Deadpool, Wolverine, and the characters from that movie, X-23, Colossus, are not part of the 616 universe. So what if we mesh everything into the Fantastic Four universe? Everything's kind of cool looking. We bring in some of the Avengers, aka, the new Captain America, Ironheart, Namor, She-Hulk, that, and then Deadpool and Wolverine come from their universe with Colossus and X-23 and whoever's left, and we mesh them into this awesome universe for Avengers Secret Wars and Avengers Doomsday, because I think this would allow the creators to just have everything. You can bring in the Wolverine characters, you can bring the Avengers into the Fantastic Four universe. You do the Fantastic Four characters justice, and you do Galactus justice, and you have the door open for an ultra mega crossover event later on, maybe called Galactus Day or something. But Galactus comes back, and now you have all the Avengers, right? Get a new Iron Man, get Doctor Doom. You have all the Avengers facing off against Galactus. And this time, Galactus has nowhere else to go. He has to eat Earth or he'll die. And then that would bring up a very intriguing next adventure for the Fantastic Four, for the Avengers. And that way, Galactus is not just a one stop shop. He comes out in this movie and he's out. But yeah, I think it protects the Fantastic Four, it protects Galactus from being this awesome Marvel villain. And yeah, this is how I would do Galactus and Fantastic Four first steps. From his origin to his costume to his powers to future appearances. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think I'm good? I'm right? If not, let me know in the comments, or simply just, I guess, dislike this video. Share your feedback with me. If you enjoyed this, though, like this video. There's a bunch of other related Marvel related content, so check that out. Show some love to this Marvel Rocketeer channel, and I hope you have a good one.